Hello. Again. Okay.
The crowd is wild.
Yes, the crowd goes wild. Woohoo! All right, so my name is Artem Danilyans. I'm a foreigner. I've been living in Finland now soon 20 years. I originally moved from St. Petersburg, Russia, but I promise you I come in peace. All right, so I want to tell you about a few things that I really am passionate about, and that is online marketing and especially search engine optimization. So I want to give you a quick, I guess that's fast and loose with the word quick, but we'll see how it goes. Quick crash course in search engine optimization, and maybe provide a few reasons why should you even care. All right, so as usually, a little bit of introduction. I guess every guest lecturer has provided some sort of background about her or himself. I'll give you a little bit about mine. So when I came to Finland, I had access to a lot of computers. You know, since grade school or something in Finland, people are working on computers. And I got really passionate about that. But I didn't want to, you know, play games or something like this. I wanted to create programs. And obviously, if you're in grade school, you know, you want to do something fun. So I started with creating viruses. So my viruses were really smart and really good. They infected computers of our computer class and gave me access. I called it Nirvana. My first ever created virus. I called it Nirvana, and what it did is once it infected the computer, it gave me direct control of the computer. So every time, you know, it infected the computer, it says, hey, I'm online, and then I could direct the computer. If there are many computers, then they started to form a group, and then the group said, hey, you know, we're group number 47, we're online. So that was pretty Russian of me, right? Anyway, I didn't do anything bad or anything, just every time I just teased my teacher. So every time there was a computer class or something and he was or she was, you know, teaching us Turbo Pascal, I was like, let's put a porn sign up, you know? And then teacher goes nuts and like, oh my God, you know, this, no, that, and they just kick the computer, you know, and I'm like, oh yeah. That's what power is all about. So, anyway, my career, so to speak, you know, limited criminal career was really short-lived. My computer teacher decided that it's better to, you know, bring me to the light side, so to speak. So he made me a system administrator in our school, and that's how I got into servers and programming. Basically, he directed my efforts to good and not evil. And that's how I got into the whole web thing. I just love the idea that there is this thing called internet, and anybody can go on internet and create something, and then it can be seen by millions of people. So, you know, things went forward, and from grade school, I went to high school, I went to Computer One, and you know, things were really good. My grades were really awesome. Now that I'm a bit older, I know that, you know, grades don't matter. But at that time, I was really pushing for good grades, and I got a lot of scholarship stuff, you know, got some money even, you know, woohoo! But then I started to dig deeper into programming, and you know, to my maybe shame at this point, now that I'm a bit older, I got really heavily into anime. So how many of you have watched ever Japanese animation? Yes, okay. Even Yari raised his hand, so now we know. Anyway, I got really into that, and I thought, hey, you know, I want to, when I started creating websites, it was really basic, you know, it just was about me, you know, welcome to my homepage, you know. And I had a friend, well, still have one of my dearest friends, and we had a competition, you know, who is better. And then, he put blinking text on his, website. And then I put, another bigger blinking text and so forth. And it was really pointless. But at some point I decided, hey, it'd be great if I started, created a website around my passion, because then maybe, it will be worth something to somebody. Nobody cares about me, but a lot of people care about Japanese animation. So I created a website, and I thought it was really good. But then I realized that, it'd be awesome if, somebody came and actually, visited my website. And it wasn't just me and my friend. So marketing, that's the first time I ever, had to do something with marketing. And my small site, a few years later grew into a site that was, I think, one of the biggest sites in the world in its own category. And I had almost 500,000 registered users on the site, and basically lived off the Google money. So I put ads on my site, and then Google paid me for the clicks and so forth. And I sponsored my friends' alcoholic habits during weekend with that money. But very little, I promise. Anyway, the point is, all of a sudden I created something out of nothing, and it was actually making money and so forth. And it was such a wonderful experience, such a great thing, that I didn't really care about school after that. I was like, school, whatever. I have 10 people in my team all over the world. We're doing this great thing, philosophy, whatever. So I skipped a lot of school, maybe 3 to 6 months at a time. My grades went from, 8 point something or 9 to barely 7 in high school. So anyway, after that, barely graduating from there, I decided that, I went to university, and I had a pleasure of sleeping at some of the really good lectures in Oulu University. And after that, I decided that it's just not for me. If I want to do this thing called web, then university is not really for me. No offense. But my idea was, if you want to do it, it's such a incredibly fast-paced world. Something that happened, 2 weeks from now is old. So how could university help me? And I thought that, hey, I wanted to create my own business. I always dreamed of becoming an entrepreneur. When I was really little, I wanted to be either a businessman or a hitman. Again, very Russian of me, right? It's all stereotypes. But I don't drink vodka. So anyway, when I was little, I didn't really know, what hitman does and so forth. I watched a lot of movies, and, those guys were the best. The mafiosa guys and the businessman guys. They even looked the same. Anyway, I decided to pursue business career, for the sake of all of us, and started my own company in 2010. And my company's aim was really simple. I realized that online marketing in itself is so much intertwined with technology. You cannot do online marketing unless you have small, at least, understanding of technology. And there is a lot of things that, have to be mixed technology-wise with marketing in order to do really well. So I formed a company. I started a company called Lumolink in Oulu in 2010. And now we are operating in Finland and in Russia. We just recently opened an office in Russia, and things been going pretty well. We have very small clients to very large clients. So, in Russia, for example, we have Ministry of Culture and some of the biggest companies that sell basically properties abroad and in Russia. And then in Finland we have things like, Osuuskauppa and some other, ski resorts, pretty much any ski resort in Finland and so forth. and we also have very small clients. Besides this, because I love web, I truly love it, I have also other startups besides my own company that have some other things, and I got involved in a lot of things that I do. So, you know, when people ask me where do I work, I always say this is where the money comes from, but then there is this, that, this, and this project, and I'm thinking about that, and there is this going on, and this in planning phase, and this fundraising. You know, for me, I think it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's such an interesting field, basically web, and it's going to change a lot. And we're just in the beginning of it. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities. So, you know, since I love it, that's what I want to do. But maybe closer to the topic before you guys start leaving. So there is a Pareto principle that says, you know, 80% of the effect comes from roughly 20% of the effort. So my idea today is to give you that 20%. Show you what is search engine optimization at its core and provide you some really basic things that you can do in order to improve search engine ranking for possibly your website, your client's website, your future company, whatever. Okay, so how many of you have Googled yourself? Okay. How many of you have Googled your, you know, upcoming date? Yes, good. You see, there is a lot of growth opportunity. You know, there is even an app. You know, there is a joke, you know, that there is an app for that. In US, there is an app where you can put the name of the, you know, date that you're going to meet for the first time today or something, and it shows it, you know, tax records, criminal records, and so forth. So if you want to bring that to Finland, there is one opportunity right there. You know, tax information is you know, public information. So imagine woman, and now there is, you know, face detection and everything, so she could just take a selfie with him, you know, like oh yeah, you know, let's take a selfie, and then it's like bing, over $1 million in income last year. Cha-ching. Anyway, so maybe closer back to the topic. When we use search engines, we search for, you know, potential, you know, employers, we search for products, we search for whatever. What are the things that affect the search results that we get? One is the query type. So Google has put a lot of effort, and we're not talking about Google, we have some foreign students here, for example, and good example would be Russia, where Google is not even #1. There are many other search engines besides Google that are really popular. There are Baidu, there are Yandex, you know, tons of them. But the general principle is the same. So, depending on the query type, search engine picks what type of results it gives you. And for example, if you never tried, you could try sometime and put in Google timer 20 minutes, and it will start a timer. You can put a flight number, and it will give you a flight information. And for example, here I tried to search for a word called alien. Definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. Just love that thing. So Google quickly decided that the movie is probably what I'm referring to. So it displayed information about the movie right away. So the query type that we're inputting, you know, if it's, for example, somebody's name, Google tries to figure out if it's, for example, some public figure, and then provides information about the person. So that's one of the things that impacts. Your location. If you go on Google and you search for best restaurant, just best restaurant, it will show you Oulu restaurants and not, you know, good restaurants in, for example, Dubai or somewhere. So Google knows your location from your IP address and from your settings possibly, and so on and so forth. So, you know, that's one thing. Then there is authorship. And before, search engine optimization was easy. And I will tell you well, I'll tell you a bit later my story. But anyway, the thing is that the way that Google revolutionized search engine field was really simple, but again very complex. You know, before Google came on, you know, online, started working and providing search results we're used to now, there were other search engines. But what Google founders came about is an algorithm. I think it's now much less used, but it was the PageRank algorithm. It was the idea that you could estimate authority of the site by analyzing links that link to the site, you know, links from other websites. So this is the core of the way that Google worked, at least many years ago. Now the algorithm has been much more complex, very different, much more sophisticated. But basically it meant this, you know, if you have a website and you have 4 million links, you have an authority. If you have another website that had, you know, 100 links, it has less authority. And then quality came into, you know, question. You know, not every link is the same, and so forth and so forth. But basically links tell a lot about the authority that you have online. So do you guys know about the miserable failure thing? The Google bomb? No? Okay. So you remember, right, the elections, I think it was the second term that Bush was going for, and people were really upset about him, you know, going into office again for whatever reason. So people decided to do something kind of funny, you know, and kind of show their dislike for the president. So what they did is they kind of talked amongst each other, webmasters, and they decided that, hey, let's link to White House page about George W. Bush with the text miserable failure. So once they did, you know, once, twice, you know, then 1,000 times, 10,000 times, 100 times, 100,000 times. After that, Google was like, well, if you search for miserable failure, this is the place to go. So you searched for that, and you went to George W. Bush page. And when the White House tried to change that, you know, like, hey, Google, you know, we don't like that. Google said, sorry, it's an algorithm. That's how it works. But then they made changes to the algorithm in order to prevent that. So it doesn't work anymore like that. But it used to before. So links created a lot of authority for you online. And another way to establish authority is to display information about the author. There is some meta tag and some stuff you can do in order to say that, hey, I am Artem Danilans, I wrote this. And then Google can give you a little bit of more authority depending on how much you write and content and so forth. But basically, you know, authority impacts results. And your social graph, this is cool, scary, don't know, but you know, you guys have friends. Well, at least some of you. And some of you have even friends online. Woohoo for you! So, and Google knows about your friends. For example, if you use Twitter, your friends' information is public unless you know, lock your profile. If you tell Google about your Facebook page, it knows about possibly friends that you have there, and so forth and so forth. If you use Gmail, you know, Google knows a little bit more about you, so forth, so forth. You use Google+. So Google can personalize results based on what your friends are doing. So this is Google trying to be helpful, saying like, hey, you know, your friend liked this restaurant, you know, so when you search for best restaurant in Oulu, for example, it could display information that your friend indicated that this is good. You know, the same way that we do in real life. You ask your friend, you know, what's the best restaurant, and probably you'll receive some reply, and you trust that a bit more than just random reply from somebody else. Okay, so your profile, that definitely impacts your results. So, you know, there has been a lot of talk, but basically when you create a profile, Google basically puts a lot of information there and tries to track it and understand, and you know, Google is reading your mail and so forth and so forth. Obviously, it's not somebody that has nothing else to do in his life and just goes through mail and like, you know, my mail would be so boring. It's just, you know, cats and, you know, work-related stuff. Not very interesting. But still, you know, it wants to learn about you. The more it knows, the better. And obviously, that is the information that Google can leverage for ads. Yeah. Okay. So, and your past behavior. I remember one client was one of the best moments. So I remember one client, you know, he said like, hey Artem, you know, you told me that this search engine optimization is hard, but I did it. And I'm like, whoa, cool. Tell me more. He's like, you know, I went and I searched for, you know, our service online and we were number 3. And then I clicked a lot and it became number 1. And he's like, I did it. I don't need you. I will keep my money. So anyway, what happened is, you know, Google realized that, hey, I can save him some time and put this up for him since he always clicks it. But it only worked for him. Only when he was logged in, Google was trying to be helpful. He thought, though, that he found out a way to cheat Google. But again, that's, at least it, you know, brought some light to my afternoon. Okay, so what is SEO? Well, SEO is search engine optimization, and I will try to break it down a little, and then we'll go into the fundamentals of SEO, and then maybe we can talk more, or, well, we'll see how interested you guys in the topic. So, search engine optimization, the goal of search engine optimization is to get high quality traffic from search engines. So, you know, a lot of talk is, there is a lot of talk about social media. I mean, that's the sexy new trend. And I always say like, well, yeah, social media is cool, but when you want to buy a new TV, do you go on Facebook and search for like, you know, like Samsung LED panel, really cheap? Or, you know, if you want to find, you know, like a hairdresser or something, do you go on Facebook and search for like really good hairdresser? So, you know, Google is still the king if you want to actually find something online, and social media is very different. And they're not necessarily, you know, one is not necessarily better than another, they just support each other. But if I have a service that I want to sell, I'm interested just in sales. I want to get high quality traffic, which means it's people that really want to see information that I want to provide them, want to see my services, and search engine is definitely one of the best ways to do it. So yeah, well, let's you know, break down the word, well, the sentence. So search. So when people search for something, they are searching for a solution. That very rarely people understand this, but you know, if you want to have some fun later on, you can go on Google Trends. It's a free service by Google, and you can see which are the most popular, you know, search words in Finland for 2013. And I think one of the most popular was kuinka ymmärtää naista, how to understand a woman. So, you know, people are really seeking solution for their problem. Okay, so anyway, people search for a solution. So when you think about search engine optimization, you have to think about how I can solve somebody's problem. Obviously, the example I mentioned before cannot be really easily solved, but still, in other cases, we can be more helpful. So engine, that is another word we need to understand. Engine is a machine. And at Google, it's a very complex machine nowadays. We're talking about, you know, billions probably of dollars, you know, and research and development testing and so forth. So we need to understand that Google wouldn't be Google, or some other search engine wouldn't be what it is today unless there was a machine that made all the decisions. So we have to realize that machine has an algorithm. Algorithm has a pattern. And if we basically tweak our content to fit in that pattern, then we optimize it. And the last word, optimization, it's ongoing process. So it's not something you do once and you forget. I can tell you one very good example. Google makes rollouts of new algorithm every few months. And everybody, just wait like for a judgment day when the new algorithm update comes. Because when new algorithm update comes, it changes the pattern. And it goes through all the websites, pushes it through the pattern, and then changes the results. Before, you were number 1 for women's clothes, and now you're number 479, which is basically nothing. So the algorithm is changing all the time. And that's why the things that I'm going to talk about today are not, quick tricks that you can do, but something that, is fundamental, something that will never change. Okay, but the optimization is ongoing process. Okay, so here I can tell the story. In SEO world, there is a term called black hat and white hat. And no, it's not about clothes and apparel. Black hat means you try to manipulate search engine into giving you a better ranking than you deserve. So you're trying to basically trick it. And white hat means you play by the rules and you try to get, search engine ranking improved, but you do it in the way that you can just walk up to, CEO of Google and say, hey, we do this, and he's like, well, good job, very good. So I can tell you a story. When I was in high school, wanted to earn a little bit extra cash, I started a website where I sold Amazon DVDs. I don't know if you know, but Amazon has an affiliate program. Basically, you sign up, they give you a special link, you send people through that link to Amazon, anything they buy, you get 10% or whatever, I don't remember. Very simple. I thought, hey, I would be stupid not to take advantage of such a great opportunity. Sit on my ass and do nothing and just get the monies. So anyway, I opened a website where what I did is I linked reviews and so forth with suggestions for movies, and then put links to Amazon. I thought, that'd be a cool site. People can find, movies they're interested. They can see related movies. They can read reviews and stuff like this. And then they can buy the movie on DVD, and I get the monies. Improve the world. So that worked for a little bit. I got, a few euros, dollars here and there. And then I thought hey, this search engine optimization is really cool. I could do something. Forget the links. I'm going to do something smart. I'm going to add a lot of keywords on a website and make it same color as the background. So normal people will not see it, but search engine will. So I thought I was really clever. And for a while, it had a small impact. Small impact. I got maybe a few dollars more. But then one day, I woke up, 12 o'clock in the morning, went to my computer, opened my statistics, and saw 0. I was like, whoa, it's not good. Let's see what's up. Started searching. Just for fun of it, I went on Google and tried to search for my website, and it was no results. My heart went really low. I was like, oh my God, what happened? Started searching and so forth. Basically, my site was tagged for a review. Somebody went, reviewed, and realized I was trying to beat the system. And they removed me. And then I realized that, you know, being part of the Google search is not a national right. It's a private corporation. They can do whatever they want. You know, so I was like, okay, what do I do? What do I do now? Okay, of course I removed the text, and I'm like, okay, I found a form. And the form is just like really simple. There is not really much in it. Just give your website URL and provide the reason why you want to be listed again. And I was like, oh my God, okay, you can have my child. You know, I was really naughty. I didn't know what I was doing. The alcohol level in my blood was just way too much. I really regret it. Please, Google, please, bring me back. So, you know, after you submit the form, they say that, hey, you know, we're not obligated to do anything, but we'll try. And after 6 weeks or something, I got back into the Google, but it was never the same. You know, it never worked. It never worked anymore. So I had to close the site and move on to something else. But that's basically what is black hat. You try to trick short term the search engine. Well, the best guys, you know, in tricking are the guys who are selling Viagra. Those guys are good. You know, if they put all that effort into something else, they would be, you know, much more maybe rich. But anyways, for example, there are things that people in black hat community do is they hack websites. But before, the hacking of the website was really simplistic. You know, people wanted to cause damage. You know, and my client's website was hacked in 2000, I think, was it 8 or 2009, and it was by some Islamist group, and it was like, death to America! You know, just on the front page, and that's it. You know, those are good ones. I wish those were back. The reason for that is that you go on a website, you see a huge picture, you're like, oh, I've been hacked, okay. You go and you restore backup, you know, no problem. But now they're getting really sneaky. What they do is they hack your website, but you don't notice anything. Sometimes they try to even improve your website so it loads better and works better. And you're like, whoa, yes, everything is great. But when search engine goes to that website, they detect the search engine and they feed the search engine absolutely different information than what you see when you go to visit the site. So they put links to their own website and so forth. Really sneaky guys. And my empire at high school crumbled because my website was hacked by Russian hackers and deleted. So, you know, there is karma in this world. You know, I got what I deserved. But anyway, that's the story. But why search engine optimization? When we think about online marketing, there are so many things you can do. You can do something really stupid on Facebook. You can buy advertisement. You can, you know, get listed on article websites. You can do whatever. Why would you focus on search engine optimization? And I think one of the reasons is that it's really good return on investment. And by good, I mean really awesome. If we think about, you cannot maybe see from here, but if you search for, you know, hotels in Finland, people are searching, I don't remember how many times, but anyway, if you want to buy advertisement from Google for keyword hotel, it costs you 3 euros about. For a click, 1 click. If you want to buy 1,000 clicks, well, you need a lot of cash. But with search engine optimization, what we can do is we can rank, we can try to improve our ranking, so when people search for word hotel in Finland, they would receive our website on the top. That's basically search engine ranking, search engine optimization. And this is the reason why it's good return on investment. And search engine optimization is long term. So if you want to make something happen today, search engine optimization is not for you. Better to invest into ads or something else. But here is one client of mine, pretty big client in Finland, and this is their Google Analytics summary from, I think, 2008 or something, so like few years, and we can see that Google brought them 4.1 million visitors, and their total amount of visitors during this whole time is 11.1 million. So, you know, if you think about it, what else can you do in terms of online marketing that can give you such good returns for such a long time? And I can tell you a small secret. This client even didn't try hard. So there could be a lot of growth opportunity for this particular client. Okay. So just like with running, I can tell you straight, I know very little about running. As you can see, I could use a little bit of running, but that's have been the next dream, so to speak, after everything works out in the business. But just like running, it's really easy to get started. Just put, you know, shoes on when you want to start running, and you just, you know, run. Anybody can do it. You really don't need shoes, actually. In Finland now, maybe, in this weather, you really need. But anyway, just like running, anybody can start doing search engine optimization. You don't need a degree from a university. You don't need to have money. You don't need to even have experience. You can get started right away. Today, now, you guys have like fancy MacBooks. You don't even need that. So, anyway, really easy to get started. But just like with running, you know, I couldn't run a marathon, even if I tried. And just like running search engine optimization, in order to be good, like one of the best in the world, you need to put as much effort as person who is training to be best in the world in running, for example. So this is part that is really awesome for me, is that search engine, you know, spectrum is always evolving. There is always something awesome and new. You know, video was kind of cool, you know, people did a little bit of optimization for video, and then Google went and bought YouTube. And now video is huge. Huge! And then, you know, mobile started coming. You guys have like the most awesome devices ever, and you use them a lot, probably much more than your computers. You know, many of you wake up and the first thing you do, you see for that WhatsApp message or something, you know. You're like, did he write to me? So anyway, so we have a lot of things that are changing all the time. There are smartphones, videos, there are e-commerce, so much things going on. And search engine is also evolving, you know, when the web is evolving. So there is always something new. So for example, now, you know, the video everything comes to Finland very late in terms of, you know, web. And the video finally came to Finland more or less. So now, you know, if you wanted to do search engine optimization, you would probably start doing video marketing and doing videos and optimizing those. Well, you probably have seen, you know, you search for something online, you know, in Google, and you see a video. You know, like, how to speak to ladies. Boom! How-to guide. 10 minutes. So anyway, you search for something and you see the video result. So for example, in Finland, because, well, Finnish people don't do a lot of videos, you know, in terms of business. There is huge gap and a lot of opportunity. So if you create a video, you can get much higher position because others don't do it. So this is one of the reasons why I have the camera. You know, I'm trying to create content myself this way. Talking to you guys that I really like, but also making sure that this lecture will benefit me for maybe years to come. So let's go to the key factors of search engine optimization. Some of the things that we can, all of us do, and something that you can guys hopefully remember, still a week after. So one thing is, I guess the biggest, most important thing is just content. How many of you have a blog? Okay, okay, good. You guys are ahead of the game. And the reason for that is nowadays when you do marketing online, it's all about content anyway. So, you know, if you guys are young, you know, you use online a lot, what you care about is content, because content gives you value. You know, it doesn't have to be, you know, value doesn't have to be money kind of value, or it can be funny, you know. I mean, like, if I wanted to get a lot of views on this video, I could just take my cat in here on one arm and my other cat in here and just, you know, do something stupid with my cats, you know, make them purr or something. People love cats. And that is the value. The entertainment, that's the value also. So it doesn't always have to be, you know, very serious and, you know, having a, you know, business costume and all that. Value can be anything. So if you think about content, content is the currency of the internet. And Google rewards companies that have a lot of content, and it, well, I wouldn't say punishes, but it doesn't give the benefit of the high ranking to people who have very little content. So, typical business website. Front page, services, company, contact. That's it. That's about it. And maybe, if you're lucky, a blog that has been updated in 2010. That's if you're lucky. So, basically, there's very little content. And in terms of the search engine, what does search engine think? Well, what is this? There's like 3 pages. Come on, try something. You have a cat, put it on. You know, do something. But you can do a lot of things. If you think about content, for example, let's imagine something very, very far from technology. Let's take a company that cleans, you know, company that provides cleaning services in all region. They can do a lot in terms of the content in order to rank better in Google. For example, they could describe the way they work, they could have a blog, they could have a video of how the process works. For example, I never, you know, purchased that service that would somebody come and, you know, clean my house, but the first thing that I'm really would be, you know, anxious to know is that would they make fun of me if they came to my apartment? You know, because it doesn't look good when it needs a cleaning. But anyway, so they could have a video where they describe the process, you know, that brings you a lot more trust in people, but video can also be optimized. They could have a blog where they talk about, for example, things related to cleaning, you know, the cleaning products, reviews and so forth. For example, they have tested a lot of different cleaning products. They could write reviews about them, help people, you know, buy good products so that they can clean themselves, their own house. They could tell you which vacuum cleaner is good, because when they buy vacuum, they buy it for 5 years. So they could actually have a lot to talk about. Okay, music and stuff is, you know, maybe not so, you know, apparently would be needed for a cleaning company. But for example, presentations. Every time I give a talk, I have a video and I have slides. I put slides on SlideShare and I put video on YouTube and I write a small description on my blog, and on my blog I put video and a SlideShare file. So basically every time I talk, I create more content. And now Jari even suggested to me that, hey, you can now give a talk about different topic, so you would have something new to record. So, you know, he's helping me out for what I really appreciate. So the thing is that there is a lot of offline stuff you can do that you can transform and bring online. And we are talking about digital assets. Every time you create some kind of content online that is unique, there is an asset, a digital asset that you have, that you can, you know, use in order to promote yourself. You can also, for example, if I have a video, I can put it in newsletter, I can, you know, sell it maybe at some point or whatever. That's an asset I can leverage. Okay, technical factors, that's the nitty-gritty part. That's the part that I like a lot. So, well, I'll give you an example. For example, for a long time, Google wouldn't understand Flash. So if you had a website developed maybe in the 90s or early 2000, it could be really flashy, you know, it could use Flash technology, it could have like sound and everything is flying, and then in Google, nothing. You wouldn't get any kind of visibility in search engine because Google cannot read Flash. Now it can a bit, but still not as well. And technical factors for the website are really important. Do you have title here, title there? I'm not going to go into detail, but in many cases, if you have a website, there is usually, you can just Google, you know, if your website is built using WordPress, or if your website is built using, you know, I don't know, whatever, Drupal or something, usually you can just Google Drupal search engine optimization, and it gives you just tips on how to optimize your website. That's all. But technical factors are really important. And authority, you have to have a lot of backlinks, and you have to have authorship. So again, not going into nitty-gritty, but the best way to remember how to handle authorship is, and to get authority is, you have to create such good content that other people online want to talk about it. And have you, by the way, seen, by the way, how many of you are not using Facebook? Like not in Facebook? There's usually one person, and you can spot him from the folio hat he has. But anyway, no, but just kidding. There had been a lot of pushback, but whatever. My idea was really simple. You have probably seen lately a lot of stuff on Facebook where the title goes like this. You know, a little girl was dying, and then they brought a dog, and then you will not believe what happened next. And then you're like, oh, now I have to click it. So, because I want to know what happened to the little girl. I'm not made of stone. So anyway, so those are clickbaits. So basically it's articles or content that is aimed to get people to click. So for example, I don't know, one of the best ways to get, I can tell you how I got a bit of a publicity. There was a program, I think a little while ago, maybe like a few months or so, about Russians. Now just when the whatever crisis was going, you know, escalating and so forth, there was a program, you know, A Studio, whatever, Ajan Kohtane, I don't remember, on TV about Russians and so forth. And I went on Twitter and started tweeting about the program and giving my opinion and so forth. And my tweet was shown on television. I was like, yes, success. My face on the television. Well, anyway, it's the second time my face was on television. I was also for a few minutes on Leijona Luola on the TV. But nothing to brag about, to be honest. Things didn't go as planned. But anyway, so, you know, my tweet was shown on television and so forth. No problem, cool, nice. But then, after that, well, after that, Iltalehti called, but that's another story. But after that, I decided, hey, I will write a blog post about this situation and my opinion about it. And I wrote a blog post and so forth. And then I thought, like, well, cool, I can share it on Facebook, but, you know, nobody will care much. But I thought, like, it'd be cool if I tried to use what I teach every time, you know, for my own sake in my personal life, because this wasn't obviously, I didn't have a blog, it wasn't my company blog, it was my personal blog. So I wrote a blog post, I tweeted, but in my tweet I mentioned the lady that was the host of the program. And she read the article that I wrote, and then she retweeted saying that, hey, this is a good article and so forth. And then when her authority was basically stamped on my article, some other people started retweeting, who trust her and so forth. And that's how, about 18,000 people saw my blog post. Only thing I did was just write on Twitter, and it got a lot of links, publicity, and so forth. So, you have to write content that others want to talk about. And, there are many ways to do that. You could do always something stupid. People love those videos. Okay, so user experience. That is something that a lot of people don't understand yet, but I think it's coming slowly. As many other things, this will land in Finland also. But user experience basically is really, really important, and it's more or less easy to measure. But if we think about it, when we go and visit a new website, about 2 seconds, we can right away tell if it's trustworthy, is it interesting, and does it have what we need at that point in time. We're so selfish online because nobody is standing behind us and looking at what we do. Thank God. So when we browse websites online, it's just like 2 seconds next, 2 seconds next. You don't care. You don't own anything to that person who created the website. So it's just like whatever. So the website has very few seconds to be interesting and to provide you some sort of hook so that you stay and learn more and so forth. And you can measure that with bounce rate. Bounce rate is a percentage of people who come, who visit your website and leave right away. You can measure it with that. There is also average time on the site. You can measure how long people spend on your website before they leave. And if it's 2 seconds, then you have a problem. And then navigation, how good is the navigation? All of those things playing out to be really important in search engine optimization because, for example, I give you one very simple thing to think about. When you search something on Google, you click on a result, then you go and visit that website, and then you come back. Google knows that you came back, and it gives just a bit of a minus point to that web result. Because if you came back, it means that that result didn't answer your query. So, user experience is very, very important. And hey, I say a lot of things about Finland, coming late and so forth. I have Finnish citizenship, so don't worry, I really love this country. But anyway, so now to the last part of the talk. So search engine optimization as a process. I mentioned that it's an ongoing process. It's not something you do once and you forget about it. It's something that you do every day, if you have the time, every week, every month and so forth. You do as much as you can. So, but we can frame it as a process and it makes it a lot more manageable. So, number one, research your niche. There is this awesome tool called Google AdWords Keyword Planner. Could be a much shorter name, I admit. But still, with this tool, you can go and just search for whatever keyword you want, and it will show you how popular is this keyword in terms of search engine traffic. It will tell you how much competition there is, in what country it is, and so forth popular. So you can do a lot of research. So let's say we had that cleaning company in a small town, Oulu, and we would want to rank better. We would want to optimize our search engine ranking, get it higher. We would go, to this tool and search, like cleaning Oulu or cleaning services Oulu and so forth. And the tool would show us how much traffic there is. And most importantly, on the lower part of the screen, you can see related search terms. So Google would also tell us what other search terms people use to find similar content. So this way you could see maybe there is, some ideas for content. So when you're staring at that blank screen and you're thinking, okay, I'm now working in this company and they sell this and I have to write this content, because, well, content is important. So where do I start? What do I do? For me personally, I go on this tool, I find something that is relevant to my field, but something that people are searching actively. If I, for example, sold vacuum cleaners, I could write a blog post about how to choose a best vacuum cleaner if you have a pet. Being valuable to the person. I would write content. So this tool is really important to realize and find out and understand what people are searching, how big competition there is in terms of paid advertising, and then you can also find out that, how big is the volume. Should you write content about this or about that? Maybe you should write about, well, a bit different subject because it's much more popular. People are actively searching for it. Good. And then another really good tool to use is Open Site Explorer. And I talked about authority today a little bit, and with this tool you can see websites authority. You can also see where this website is getting links from, how much links, and so forth. How valuable are those links? So if you're starting a new company, let's say you are going to sell, I don't know, whatever, MacBooks, and you're starting your company, just starting your website and so forth, and you're thinking that where can I get links from? You can just, put your competitor there and see where he's getting it from. And, do a little bit of business intelligence. So, very simple tool, very easy, and obviously the tools that I mentioned are free, so you can use them. Yeah. Okay, I guess I have to wrap it up soon. All right, so second thing in our process is creating optimized content. Well, I talked a lot about content, now we're finally getting to the important part. Well, if you think about it, there is so much different types of content you can create. Content is basically anything that is unique and valuable to the user. It can be a game, it can be a recording, it can be whatever. It can be presentation, PDF file, article, whatever. So you have to create optimized content, and in many cases you still place your content on your company website. That's how it works. Or if you have a personal website you want to promote, you will still house that content on that site. So the easiest way to optimize your content is that when you create a new page for new content on your website, you just remember to optimize title and meta descriptions. And in many content management systems, there are free plugins or some extensions or something that can help you, input that metadata that Google finds valuable. Again, something really simple, really easy to understand. And when you're writing that metadata, obviously you have to mention keywords that you researched before and found to be valuable to your business. So for example, if I created a YouTube video, for example, I'm probably going to name this video Search Engine Optimization, I don't know, like beginners, lecture or something. I want to appeal to the name lecture, I want to appeal to the name beginners, I want to appeal to the keyword search engine optimization, and in the meta description of this video I will write that, in this lecture we talked about Google AdWords keyword tool and this and that and getting backlinks and valuable content and so forth. So that when people search for something similar, they will find my content. Yes, and this is finally a place where social media can help a little bit. So after you have content, that you created, optimized content for the keywords you researched previously. Now you have to get exposure. You have to get basically links and so forth. If you put your black hat on, you can buy links. Google actively fights against that, but you can still do it. And those who tell you that buying links doesn't work are lying. Because how Google can know if it's bought link or not? Know how. It can have some sort of an idea, but there is no way to find out for sure. So in order to, for example, I will tell you through my personal process. So when I, for example, create the video, I post it on my blog, then I share it on Twitter, I share it on LinkedIn, I go to the LinkedIn group that I subscribed where there are other marketing people, I share it there, you know, and I share it also on our Facebook page. It gets distributed through email, newsletter, and so forth. So I try to get exposure to the content that I create. And when I get more and more links, you know, my authority grows and grows. To the point where I will be master of the universe. Well, not really. I had one cool client story. I had one client, obviously cannot name names, but he said half jokingly that, you know, like, Artem, you help us do this, we're gonna be so rich, we're gonna buy the internet. So yeah, maybe someday, you know, someday. So, and then you analyze results. There are really lots of good tools to analyze results, but probably best ones are Google Analytics and Google Webmaster Tools. Free tools to analyze results. There are tons of books about it and guides and so forth, so I'm not going to go into detail on those, but basically once you created content, what you can do is you can go on Google Analytics and just see that one content piece that you created, and you can see how well did it do. Did it get exposure? Did it get links? You know, did people visit? How long did they stay on the site and so forth? And obviously, every time we create content, we want to get high search engine ranking, we still have to remember we have to make money. So every time somebody comes to see our blog post or something, there has to be a way for him to continue our sales funnel, you know, and give us his monies. You know, we need it for stuff. So basically, you know, if you're selling online marketing services like I do, you know, on the bottom of your blog, you could write that, you know, like, hey, you know, hopefully you enjoyed this article on search engine optimization. If you ever need a professional search engine optimization services, you can contact us, blah, blah, blah. And many times I get business just because people go on Google, they find my presentation on, you know, SlideShare, and in presentation I explain how to do everything, and they call me and they're like, yeah, no, like too much work, you know, could you do this for us? Basically what I try to do is I try to build up my authority and my basically brand, and I do that very simply. I just share all the information I have, and the more I share, the better I do. So that's really, sharing is caring. Yeah. And then the last step, very important, you repeat this process for the rest of your life. So, you know, that's basically, in a nutshell, I guess, would be the search engine optimization process. But if you want to start it, right now, you maybe don't have a company, you don't have anything, I urge you, please start a blog. And I know, very few people will care. Trust me, I know. But basically what it will do, it will provide you a substitute for a company that you can try to gain leverage. You can, because no matter what you write about, you guys, some of you do, dancing, painting, whatever. You have some sort of passion. Maybe you really like studying. Who knows? There might be a few here that actually do. So, you have some sort of passion. You can write about it. And you don't have to even worry, you don't have to think about, yeah, I'm going to get, make this huge. It's going to be the best swimming blog in the world. But the idea is you put Google Analytics there and you just think, hey, I started from nothing, from zero. How can I get, at least 200 readers? Because I can tell you, this will give you much better expertise once you actually enter workforce and start do online marketing, because you will have to do something that I do every day, something that, Yari teaches about and so forth. You will be able to put it into practice. And I can tell you straight, once you're gonna start searching for job, enter the job market and so forth, I can tell you a story. Better to tell a story again. I worked in IT company that was run by Hannu Pudas in Oulu, and the company was called Fudeco. And they were recruiting and so forth, and my boss was really, he's really a great guy, and I still keep in touch with him. But he wanted to recruit a programmer. And one programmer, I think, got in touch, and he said, I don't have, work experience. And I think he said, I don't have education, any sort of education, for programming. But I have this blog. And then when my boss went to see his blog, he realized that this guy has been blogging for 7 years about programming. He was just reading, and he's like, you hired, whatever, just get in here. Take my monies. So he basically was hired because he was able to prove. And again, think about it. Once you're going to start, searching for a job opportunity, if you show me your swimming blog or whatever, and you said that, I started it in university, and it's already been 4 years, and I have 2,000, subscribers around the world, that's going to mean a lot. Much, much more than anything else, because I know then that you can actually do it. You know the process. You committed to for years. You create content. You realize the value. Blah blah blah. Means you're one of the good guys. So if you want to learn more, I included some links, and Yari will send the presentation along with all the links. So if you want to learn more, there are some guides, that go much more in depth in terms of search engine optimization. But, that's it. Hopefully you liked my presentation. Thank you.